Boris Johnson is preparing his comeback campaign to replace Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister and Tory leader, and suddenly he's become pro-low taxes. There is a very fascinating concept when it comes to the Tory party and Tory politicians. Whenever they're outside power, whenever they're not in a cabinet, they become the most sound and Thatcherite and pro-low taxes and low small government. They become conservative. Their rhetoric and their whole narrative that they run is based on true conservatism. The moment they get close to power, everything goes away. Now, it's all about expectation management. Nobody is disputing that it's difficult. Things change when you're inside the Whitehall machine and running Downing Street. I get it, technically. But don't overpromise. Don't lie to the public. Boris Johnson, who's trying to have this comeback campaign to replace Rishi Sunak, we already reported earlier today on this issue, he is now saying that the Conservatives must fight for a low-tax Britain in order to challenge Rishi Sunak, but of course, at the same time, Keir Starmer of the Labour Party. Isn't it interesting that under Boris Johnson himself, the tax burden went so high? Now the tax burden is at its highest in decades. So now he wants us to believe that he is gone back to being a Thatcherite? Really? Are you kidding me with this? So this is last night, the picture from last night outside the Carlton Club when he and his supporters gathered to unveil his new portrait. Now all the left-wing idiots of the Tory party who are technically in power, they got those ones to deal with. And now we've got some of the Borisites who are still confident that when their boys come back, all of them, that includes Priti Patel and everybody else, Nadine Dorries, then things will change. Really? Boris Johnson has said, never give in, keep fighting. Well, I agree with that. But you overpromised in the past. Boris says, fight for opportunities and for a dynamic, low-tax global Britain. That is how we will win again. So I like dynamic, low-tax Britain. I like small government. I agree with everything you said. But he told us the same thing in 2019, and we're still waiting for it to happen. And he can't use the excuses of the lockdown days and everything else, because it's nothing to do with that. It has nothing to... It wasn't just about the rate of tax. It was everything about nanny state, about the global consensus on health, everything that happened. Every single thing. Look how woke the government departments have become under Boris Johnson. You can't really say that he tried his best. Well, things got worse and worse. At least Rishi Sunak is not really pretending to go unwoke. He's continuing with wokeness anyway. But that's it. Now, Tom Harwood did say, this quote from the Carlton Club, Boris apparently said that there is only one party that yearns to reduce the burden of tax. There is only one party that really believes in extending the joys of home ownership. Can anyone let me know which party that is? Do you know what I responded on Twitter? I said, is Boris endorsing Reform UK? Because these are Reform UK's policies. The Tories are not actually doing any of this. It's literally the same rhetoric that we've heard before and before. So do not really get fooled by this sort of narrative. It's not really going to change anything. And there is definitely an opportunity for Boris and Borisites to come into power and completely do redemption and apologize, but it's not going to happen. It's highly unlikely. Not going to happen. Now, that's just one issue. But so last night, as we said, a couple of nights ago, was the Carlton Club gathering. And this is the video that we have from the unveiling of his portrait. Very excited. Everyone's very excited. It's just a portrait, guys. Just a portrait. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. I'll come back in half an hour. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.